first of all, you have to see how the world is. Okay, we're here. We have to deal with it. And so people are, again, they're still using, they're still living, wanting to live with the old ideas that they've been indoctrinated with and conditioned with and programmed with. And that is that, well, you do certain things, and, the idea would be something like, well, God will love you and you will get this or whatever. This has been a marketing ploy. And it's not that you're not supposed to have what you want. That's not the idea. But people really don't understand why they're here. You really didn't come here, okay? It's like going on vacation. What's the idea of going on vacation? Well, we'll just use that as kind of a funny example. From the stress of the work world and all these things that you go through. What's the idea of going on vacation? Oh, you want to get away from it. You want to get away from those things. And I'll use some movies as an example where people are, there was Goldie Hawn and Steve Martin were in one called The Out-of-Towners as one example. And, the vacation didn't turn out like they thought it would. In other words, you have this idea of things. It's like, okay, we're going to go on vacation. We're going to have fun. We're going to relax. We're going to forget, our 9-to-5 jobs or whatever. We're leave the kids here. Let's just go. Okay. And actually, Tim Allen, did a Christmas movie like that to where, he says, well, let's do something different this year. Let's forget the kids and let's forget Christmas. And he went through all this hell in the meantime, all these situations, anyhow, not really hell, but situations which were funny. With Jamie Lee Curtis, and because movies are a very good objective idea, and finally he gave in at the last minute, of course. But here's the idea. Then all of a sudden you go on vacation, and it's like, okay, it doesn't always turn out. Yeah, you get your little thrills here and there, but it always doesn't turn out like you thought it would, right? Because you got this idea of it. You've got this glazed over idea of it, like you see in the postcards and the brochures and how they market you. Oh, you're going to come here and you're going to lay in the sun and we're going to give you massages and you're going to go out to dinner and eat the finest foods and all this stuff. But you don't see to where all of a sudden you go to dinner and that lobster is, it's from Fukushima, and all of a sudden you got diarrhea and illness, and maybe even go to the hospital, you see, all on your vacation. And you can film it. You can film this whole thing. Because, backing up, why is it, when you look at all these things and see it's ideas upon ideas here. In other words, we're marketed ideas, and then we create more ideas on top of that, thinking that, okay, these ideas will solve all the ideas that we've already considered. So we got ideas on top of ideas. It only becomes more complicated, okay? And so this is where very few people can see the simplicity, like the sun shining. And that is that, like the first step is recognizing what the sun is demonstrating. Now, who has taken the time to do that and figure that out? See, until you figure that out, yeah, you're going to be on Earth here, and you're going to have to deal with cause and effect that you created. So these ideas that these people have, and takes some understanding. This is where I see people come and go, because they're expecting something, That's why they look to masters, gurus, politicians, saviors, whatever, because they're thinking they've been marketed that someone else is going to do it for them. Last night I was talking to a fellow that I hadn't talked to in 4 years. He used to be on the radio shows. And through our conversation, it was interesting. Then it got to the point, because he had been in several paths. He was in the corporation. He was in the Way of Truth with Michael Owens. And by the way, he let me know Michael Owens just passed away. He left this place. And I simply said to him, oh, okay, well, that was his choice. Which it was. He chose to leave. He could have stayed. He could have done more stuff, but he chose to leave and go to his happy hunting grounds. Whatever. But it came to the point where we were talking about, things being as such, and, things taking place, and maybe, people have a better understanding or help or whatever. And he goes, all of a sudden out of the blue, he goes, oh, the star children, the indigo children, they're going to save us. And this is a man that had been with us for a year or so, and very intelligent fella, but very well-to-do. He lives in South County down here, south of me in Orange County. And I know his situation. I'm not going to really get into it. He's very self-satisfied with his life. He's doing really good. Very, very good. He's a school teacher. And then I got into a little bit of this, like, okay, what are you teaching these kids? You teach second, third, and fourth grade. What are you teaching them? You're really conditioning them for the system. That's it. You're not really giving them anything, but you feel good because you've got a good job and you make good money. But what you're doing is you're setting them up for the system is what you're doing. But it all looks good because their parents are happy. They're getting good grades. They come and see you. Oh, you're a nice fella. Everything looks really good, doesn't it? A little surfacey world. Well, fine. And so the Africans, I understand. I really do. I'm doing all I can. And I've done a lot just bringing this out to where, all these things that look like they work don't work. None of them. None of them work. And I don't care if people are reading Paul's books. It doesn't work. You'll have the experiences. What you see, the new nowness is to recognize what the isness is. There becomes the difference. This is where I keep bringing this stuff up. And I know it bothers people. Well, that agitation can actually lead to you being motivated to wake up. Otherwise, you're going to continue to be the effect of yourself. And as long as you're continually looking for a la-la land here that does not exist, well, you're going to be disappointed because there's no such thing. I don't care if you see your neighbors with their Mercedes and their big house and whatever. They are more trapped in the illusion than anybody. And it's not about being trapped or whatever. They've subjected themselves to be willing to be part of the social saturation that goes nowhere. And so it's not about having it or not having it. That's not the idea. You came here, and everybody came here for one purpose only, to figure out what is what in this dungeon, because it's the motivation factor here. Okay, why does a person go through boot camp when they could just grab a gun and go out and start shooting people, which they do? Okay, but why do they go through the discipline of boot camp to really get the focus and get it all together and become a real soldier? To just use that as an idea. It's not the best example, but it's an idea. Because some people, you might say, want to do it right. And so, again, is what I'm presenting not making sense? The first step is that. But we don't do miracles here because miracles don't work. They really don't. The hocus pocus doesn't work. Reality is better. But you have to recognize this is the bigger picture, the bigger journey, which is huge. The little spiritual paths and all these things where people are self-satisfied, that's easy. That's like when we were living with our parents and we were 5 or 6 or 7. Those were the good old days. Yeah. And it really does matter how parents raise their children, because what most parents don't see is that, guess what? The children do see you. They see you 100%. That should scare you, because most people are in their own minds and they don't objectively see that. And they're thinking that their kids, oh, they're like this or they're like that. My mom used to do that too. Parents think for their children, but they don't see what their children see. That's the bigger picture, the next step. But the biggest picture is recognizing the is. So I'm not here with what I'm doing to cater to people. That's not the idea. What I'm sharing is wonderful and real, but you got to figure it out, like the Rubik's Cube, There it is, you can buy in the store, but you got to figure it out. Nobody's going to figure it out for you. And this is even bigger. You have to figure this out. And I've given the hints so many times, and I will continue to do it. And at the same time, I'm focused on this universal position that's very real. And very few people, almost nobody sees it like I do. And I didn't have to decide this, but I have. And so most people will not see it. They will still be struggling because they just don't take the time. Their personal life is more important. So again, I understand, Charles. I really do, but there's nothing I can do. Nobody can do it. Even the boys. Life itself can do nothing See, the sun shining and life itself, the isness, cannot do it. You know, the isness life is I'll use an example in the physical sense, is like the electricity in your wall. You know, you gotta bring, if you want electricity in your house, you've got to in some way hook up to the main source. You've got to have all these things. You've got to have the breaker box and all these things. And then you've got to do all the wiring in the house, don't you? You have to do all that. And then if you want light in your house, you have to have a lamp with a plug so you can plug in. And eventually from all of that comes the light in your house. And people can think, oh, that's wonderful. To a lot of people, that's terrific who haven't had light in their house. It is cool. It is good to have these things. It's fine. But it's not the real light. It's secondary light. And so is the sun shining. And this is where people misunderstand. I'm not talking about the sun, all right? I'm talking about what is the sun demonstrating. And this is where people become confused also. All of a sudden they kind of put the twist on it and are thinking that, oh, Duane's talking about the sun shining. You know, we can be like that, a happy person, or whatever their take is on it. No, it's none of that. Your happiness is your decision. I don't sell happiness. This is what the corporations and the spiritual paths and religious people sell. They sell happiness, and it's fake. They motivate people into a fake assumption. Reality is better, but you have to see it. And it's with your real awareness. And you have to stand in it 100% with your intent, not a surface idea. But you do still do the surface world stuff. But you know what's first. And so again, these people, and they're going to come and go because they're going to be constantly disappointed with themselves, Charles, because they don't take the time to see what is real. That's the whole thing. They don't. And the first step, I'm giving the hint, have you figured out what the sun is demonstrating? Have you figured that out? Have you do you really see and sincerely see what I'm saying and what I'm, referring to? And this itself will apply itself according to your real awareness. So, you see, we all came here to recognize who we really are, not just to get lost in the phenomena. This is where when you really recognize your real self, you'll deal with the phenomena no matter what it is. And yes, you'll still go through frustrations and discouragement. I do too. That's not it. I see through the tears that I've cried. It's all okay. You know, sometimes I'll be honest with you. I'd rather just cry because I feel fine just crying because I see it. It's not about the crying. One time there was one of the gals many years ago when I first took the Route of Power and whatever, she was in the classes I was teaching, and she had this friend that had a child. And this child was always crying, and she couldn't figure out why. So we said, my friend said, well, go to the real site. It was called the Inner at the time, and see what's going on. So she went to the Inner and talked to her daughter. And the daughter said, Mom, I'm fine. See? There really is more than just one world and one way of seeing things. But the personal self wasn't fine. There becomes the difference. So, when people just put, and I understand, their personal self totally in front of them. See, they want this, but at the same time, they keep putting their personal self in front of them, and they really keep tripping over themselves. And it's not a matter of fulfillment or whatever. I haven't fulfilled, what I'm after to do here, because again, I have to deal with the whole world, and the dark side does not want me to succeed. So they put up every kind of block they can. And I have to deal with all kinds of people. Okay, but fortunately there's a few like Kelsey and Bell and whatever come in and support, and so that we can just at least do something, because this world does not want it, and especially those that control it. So, when you look at the history of Africa, we'll use Africa because this is the Africa show. Look at the agreements that have been made down through the centuries to where it's come to where it is today. And us too in the United States. Look at the last 300 years. You know, things that have come to be here, and the control and the abusive control and the torture and the pollution and the tyranny and the poisoning and everything, it's all been agreed to. We've agreed to it. And it's okay. It's all okay. Again, nothing is negated. But at some point, just take the time to wake up and see what's going on. So I'm not here to buck the system or confront the system, because, see, the system is distortion. It's created distortion. So when you deal with the created distortion, you're causing distortion. Where does that get you? More distortion. So what I see is that you create a new position that makes sense and see who will wake up. But for the most part, that's why there's only a few of us here, because most people don't want to make sense of their life. And so until they have the understanding, because the real guides are there, Charles, they really are. And they are examples, okay, of what is possible. But in the meantime, people are just totally putting their attention on their personal self, which I get, because it's hard here. It is really hard. And so just like Kelsey and Val came in, and whatever, we got together. And I have another friend of mine here, Ollie, too. We got together and we figured something out. So this is what I've said many times. Instead of doing that, get people together. Get them to figure something out, but not just look at that and all of a sudden just live, quit. Because again, then you just go downhill and you go nowhere. Now you start to create this path with the personal self that goes nowhere. And just like you've done for lifetimes, you will end up nowhere because you're not paying attention. So I suggest these people, like I have in the past, and I gave many examples, and I know it's hard, but that toughness should motivate you even more. And so you have the surface world. You see that. I get it too. I have to deal with it. I don't like it. I don't like dealing with the literal public, the lawyers, the bankers, the doctors, whatever, the know-it-alls that are contributing to basically nothing in this world now. It's all marketing. They just market things for the most part. Yeah, they can be good people. Oh, they're nice neighbors. They say hi to each other. But you know what? They keep agreeing to the demise. They keep being the know-it-alls, and they keep agreeing to everything that the world controllers are doing. And they won't stand up and do something real. And they can't see what we're doing, what we're presenting. It's so simple and real. It is. It's like a child. It's like the sun shining. But nobody cares about the sun anymore. They don't care if it's overcast or chemtrails or whatever for the most part. They don't pay attention. They don't care. But when the sun is gone, all of a sudden, they're going to see it. Just like in the movies Highlander. On the second movie, they created a cloak over the earth where you couldn't see the sun anymore. Very real. And this is what they're doing. And so, yeah, there's sunny days and everybody's going to the beach here. And just like over there in Africa, they're having fun, whatever. It's fine. Well, life is survival, isn't it? And really taking a look at what's going on in the world. How are you going to survive, and your friends and whatever? I don't have to take any of this on. All I have to do is write like Paul did. But I decided to take on so much more and create all these projects because I see what's taking place. I don't want to sit here and watch the world burn, because it is. They're doing the laser fires here and all over the world. They are nonstop with burning everything up. Yellowstone, Fukushima, all these things, HAARP, they ain't stopping. It's getting worse. Again, you're going to have 5 and 6G coming. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. So it's the real awareness. Who will learn to stand real and take a look at what I've decided, and the boys are backing me up with? There's the focus, because things have become so desperate on this planet. The little personal self is not going to mean anything after a while, because everybody is, agreeing to what's taking place, just like Noah building the boat. I'm like Noah building the boat. I'm saying, hey, why don't you guys help us build the boat because the flood's coming? Oh, no, we got things to do. We got a party and a barbecue this weekend, and the big game's on. We don't have time to do that. But when the flood comes, and it'll be instant, like Fukushima, just like that. Gone. Too late. This is how it is in creation. Yes, your real awareness cannot be destroyed, but it can be disrupted forever. That becomes the difference, just like it is right now with the misunderstandings that you hang on to. So, Again, see, what many people look for is they look for what I'm presenting to fit their lifestyle. And it's not gonna, because I'm not interested in fitting the lifestyle. I write about a lot of things to give viewpoints. The latest one I wrote about it is air shows, you know, and we have them here in Huntington Beach, and they're total nonsense. And Val and Kelsey experienced it here last year. The noise is so horrendous. I wonder how many birds die as these stupid planes fly over. And what I see is the people of the countries that have been destroyed, like Gaza Strip, Syria, and all this stuff, where the United States has went in with these bombers, and these people hear this, these women and children, and then all of a sudden their whole place is blasted. But yet here in the United States, they have these ear shows where people are sitting there on the ground paying for it and applauding and eating their candy canes. You know, what a perversion, what propaganda, you see, and on the same earth. And they're polluting the skies and everything, etc. Yeah, and so again, yet they're applauding it. So you got one side of the earth where they're destroying it, and then the other side of the earth where they're making a big show of it, to where everybody's applauding it, like the 4th of July, polluting the air, destroying things. Again, I wonder how many birds at night die from those horrendous fireworks and the poisoning. Just the birds alone, and other animals, and etc., and even the people. But nobody cares. So what is the reality of this? This is the challenge that you have. It's not what you thought it was, is it, in the beginning? Not even close. It gets to be more real, and you decide how real you want to get. But here's the best part. When you can stand 100% real and recognize this true reality, truly recognize it. I don't mean just figure it out. There's no such thing. Without consideration, because you cannot consider it. Everything will be fine, and you will see that it all is. But until then, you will be in the struggle. You will be struggling to recognize that position, but you must have the heart for it. The heart, the intent, and sincerity. You must be 100% clean and clear with everything. You cannot be on the fence, or you will not see it. You will not allow life to show you. You have to allow it. Remember that word, ALLOW. All open wide. That's what you have to be. So, now we hear the squeaks of people in the world and all the things they think in their mind they should have. Well, go earn it. We have a little image of Clint Eastwood, you know, and I got it off Facebook years ago. Basically says that nobody owes you anything. Get off your ass and earn it. And then I added a little bit to it. It's like, you know, sing the new you. I changed the wording a little bit, Ava and I did. But this is real. Physical sense, this is a hard world. It absolutely sucks. Yeah. And even when it is okay, it's not okay. There's always something, you see, because it's cause and effect. So your first position is to wake up to where you're really at, not where you think you are in La La Land. It's like you see other people with things. Well, you're just seeing the appearance that's taking place. Did you come here to just chase the appearance of things? Is that why you came here? Do you remember why you came here? Of course you don't, because you got a new body and a new mind. But that's why you came here, to wake up, not just chase the appearance of things and the ideas and your own little futuristic plans of, oh, I want to be here and I want to do this. This is my stuff. Well, go ahead, have fun. You know, that's not the focus. The boys back me and what I'm deciding, and it's not about me. What I'm deciding is for everyone, but each person has to see it, see, because I can see it. I stand in it 100%. That's my intent. I don't have any future plans. I don't have any desires or wants or whatever. I see that with this, everything is as it is. It truly is. And everything is available, you see? Everything. So it's just like all that stuff you have in your house, and maybe in one of your rooms you have a big mirror. And as you look at the mirror, you see the reflection of what you have. But you see, that's just the reflection, isn't it? but you can really have it all. Okay, but you're thinking in the material sense. No, it's better than that. I'm not talking about the material sense, because you won't even want it once you see all of it. But in the meantime, you're just seeing a reflection. That's all you're seeing. All of this is a reflection. But you must go through this reflection. And so, yeah, this is the torment until you figure it out. And then after a while, you realize, just like I said, I'd rather cry most of the time. The torment is fine because you see something so much better after you went through this process, just like anything, just like a soldier going through boot camp. Once they went through it, once they went through that hell, yeah, and a lot of them don't survive. All of them don't survive, especially today with all the shots and inoculations. They get whacked out. They really do. About 50% of them don't make it just because of that and everything else. But once you make it through, you did it. You went through the dark tunnel. You went to that next part. Now it's facing everything. Now you're going to go out there and face the world, you see? But you're still taking orders from knuckleheads. At what point will you get beyond all of that? What point will you decide to not just give in to the system, but stand real with something that makes sense, and then do it? Otherwise, you're the effect. You are the chosen effect, and it's not the world. It's not the government or whatever. See, people blame the government, but it's really themselves and how they view the situation. See, the government is a mock-up. It's a front. It's not what it appears to be. And so when you try to buck the establishment, you're being silly. It's like having a sword swinging it in the air. It ain't going to do anything, you see. And they know that. They love it when people do that and rebel, because then they got you. See, and people are thinking, oh, they know something, or they figured out the laws or whatever. No, there's nothing to figure out. It's all baloney. I've done so many business deals, and I do them. They're all baloney. They're just words on paper. And people buy this stuff. Yeah, while you're here, yes, you do the best you can to get along. You don't need to create unnecessary situations. But at the same time, you decide to be the risk taker. No, this is the risk taker position now. You really got to be the risk taker, like the sun shining. See, the sun has nothing to do with the earth, yet it shines upon the earth. Do you see what I'm saying? You want to be like the sun, or do you want to stay a personal person saturated with society on the earth? You decide. The sun is showing the possibility, but you decide your fate. What are you seeing? Are you dreaming of tomorrow and this and that and whatever? Well, guess what? You're planning your future lifetimes, and you don't even see it. You didn't see it in the past. You're not seeing it now. So again, what is really taking place? What is Duane saying? Very few can see it, because they don't pay attention. This is what the boys are trying to say. Yeah, people will have experiences with the boys. That doesn't mean they recognize it. Yeah, Darwin and Harold and all these other knuckleheads, they had experiences too in the real side and even in the real universes. But they didn't recognize it. So what good is it? Yeah. So, but it is, they have it, but they decide because, see, again, their personal side was more important to them, you see, their personal side. So I know that's a long answer, but, it's time to get real. And little by little, as we go through the process, like Kelsey and the kids and what they're doing, etc., they have a lot to see and learn, etc. I get that. But at least they're stepping up, they're doing the process, they're doing something. And everybody that does that, you see, you only reward yourself. It's not about looking for rewards. There's no such thing. Because the best part of life is your real awareness. You reward yourself by recognizing it. But if you want to chase things, fine, you can do that too. Again, nothing is negated. If that comes first in your life, you decide. But you can have all of it. But you got to figure it out. I'm not here to figure it out for you. If you want to create a business, I'm not here to figure it out. I'm figuring out my own silly business here, dealing with this stuff. But at the same time, I have a bigger view that will supersede all of it. That's the fun part. That's my adventure. I will do that. But not everybody will see it. Just like they don't see the corporation members that I was there 30 years. They don't see what I'm doing. They have no idea what I'm doing. And these are the people that are supposed to be so aware. They're so aware, and they're so spiritual, and they're such good people, and they're all these cliches, okay? But the bottom line is, gee, if they're all that and so much more, why can't they figure out and see that Joni's reptilian and controlling them, taplining them? Gee, they just can't. They just kind of missed that part, didn't they? Huh? Yeah. What is this world really? Who can figure it out? Who can figure out creation? Who can see the real universe is? There's your challenge. That's what I'm presenting. My focus is the is. It's not even me. Like I've said many times, there is no me. I put life before me. I'm very grateful, and all I do is focus on pure sincerity. I'm very grateful. These are my real attitudes that just I live with. That I am aware of this. I'm amazed myself that I am. And who am I? I'm just doing my part. I'm just Duane. That's it. But I feel so fortunate, and the thing is that I can see this. And so that's the only reason the boys back me, because I can see it, and with what I decide, it's very real and it makes sense for what's going on in this world. So they back me, and the whole of life is backing me. There's things taking place with the is that people cannot even fathom, and it all backs me. Why? Because I can see it. And all these other things that you see in the world that look good, they have no backing, and for the most part, they're all infected with the reptilians. But they do look good, like the White House and the Vatican City and all these things, all these world controllers, the Queen and the monarchy. Oh no, the big thing is the wedding. The reptilians are getting married to have little aliens that further infect the planet. Oh, that sounds just really cool, and everybody's celebrating that, aren't they? Look at all the people celebrating it. Have fun. Your choice. I have things to do that matter. And it's for everybody. It's not about me. I'm fine. I'm fine. Hey, I get to surf once in a while. Lucky me. Thing being is that I love what I do, and I've chosen to do it, and I don't have to do it. I'm fine. But you know what? I'm doing it, and I take on the burden and have to deal with the nonsense, and that's okay too. I like the challenge. I like the confrontation. I'm fine with all of it. Because the best part is when I see that little understanding that people have, and I know that most people, if anybody here, doesn't have it, but at least they're trying to get it, just like a child trying to walk. And the parents are there, but they can't walk for the child, but he's crawling at first, but they're there, and they're excited. And yeah, the boys see you, life sees you, when you really are sincerely making the effort to understand what it is. And to where, yeah, you'll have your little personal life and all your cliques. But again, each one of us came into this life, we chose our situation. It's like the old saying, you got to deal with the hand that's been dealt to you. But realistically, from what we've experienced in the past into this lifetime, we've chosen our positions, whether it's in Africa, America, or whatever. And any of that can change. You look at Snowden that worked for, Edward Snowden that worked for the NSA. Hey, he decided to get up one day and said, the heck with you, I'm out of here. I'm going to Russia. Okay, he did it. Anybody can do it. Anybody can get on a boat. The Africans can get on a boat and go anywhere they want. They can sneak into America. They can get ID in some way and do it. They can do it. Will they do it? You can do whatever you want. Everybody can do whatever they want. Is that what you want to do? So I would say that those that do see even a little bit of this, how fortunate it is, because again, what I've created is not the reality. Far from it. It's a reflection. It's a reference. The reality is now you know that you are the real awareness, and you have the possibility to recognize how you are with this reality and to figure it out. That becomes your real adventure. You get to figure it out, and you have the best guidance there. You can prove that to yourself. Lucky you that you know.